Hi everyone, my name is John Martin Rosario. I'm from ABM Y2P, and our topic for today is buying and selling.
But before I start, let me introduce the meaning of buying and selling. First, buying. Buying is exchanging something with money. Selling. Transaction where a good or service is being exchanged for money. And buying and selling topic consists of mark on, markup, markdown, gross margin. And we're gonna start off on mark on. And I'm gonna explain what is mark on. Mark-on. Mark-on is an amount added to the cost denoted by MO. And the formula for mark-on is original price. To get the original price, we must add the cost and mark-on. To get the mark-on, we must add selling price plus cost. And we're gonna apply it in the next slide. As you can see, you have three problems. Number 1, cost is 700, mark on is 500, but the original price is missing. How are we gonna solve for this? First, let's get our calculator. What we're gonna do is just add up the mark on and the mark and the cost. So 700 plus 500, what it is. So we're gonna add it up. 700 plus 500 equals 1200, and that's how we get the original price. Original price. In example number 2, we have a big number. The cost is 40,000 and the mark on is 17,000. But yet again, the original price is missing. How are we gonna solve for this? Just do what we did in number 1. Add the mark on and the cost. 40,000 plus 17,000. Now let's get our calculator and add it up. 40,000 plus 17,000. It's 57,000. 57, and that's how we get our original price. 57 equals original price. Now the last example number. We're gonna move on into small numbers so it will be easy. The cost is 25 pesos and the mark on is 30, but the original price is still missing. Let's do what we did in question number 1 and question number 3. Just add up the cost and the mark on. Now let's get our calculator to solve it. 25 plus 30 equals 55. And that's how we get our original price. Plus original price. There we go. Now for our markup, I'm gonna explain what is markup. Markup. Markup is any amount increases on the original price, denoted by MU. In the next slide, I'm going to show you the formula. To get the markup, you must minus the selling price and the original price. To get the markup rate, you must divide the markup and the original price, and after that, multiply it by 100. To get the selling price, original price plus markup. To get the original price, markup minus the selling price. In the next slide, I'm going to show you how you will solve for it. To further explain the markup, we have three examples here. Number one, we have markup for 1,000, original price for 2,500, and selling price is missing and markup rate is missing. So how are we gonna do this? First, let's solve for selling price. To solve for selling price, all we need to do is add the 1,000, which is the markup, 1,000 plus 2,500, and it will be equivalent of 3,500, and this is the selling price. Selling price 500. Now, how about the markup rate? For the markup rate,
To
we just
divide?
need the markup to the original price and times it to 100. For example, 1,000 divided by 2,500, and it's gonna be 0.4, and we're gonna times it to 100, and it's gonna be 40%. So our markup rate is 40, and that's how we solve number one. For example number two, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna analyze the question. Our markup is 500, our selling price is 700, but the original price is now missing and also markup rate. How do we solve for this? Subtract the markup to the selling price. Selling price minus, actually add it. Add the markup to the selling price, and it's gonna be 1,200, 200, and that's our original price. Now we have the original price. We're gonna solve for the markup rate. So 500 divided by 1,200 is equivalent of, it's gonna be 0.41666. Now we're gonna times it to 100, and it's gonna be 41 41.67%, and that's our markup rate, 41.67%, and that's how we solve number two. Now for our number three, we're gonna do the same thing. Analyze the question. First, our markup is missing. Original price is 5,000 and the selling price is 7,000, and the markup rate is missing. So before we solve for the markup rate, make sure we solve for the markup. So to solve the markup, 5,000 minus 7,000, and it's gonna be 2,000, and our markup is 2,000. Now to solve for the markup rate, and since we have the markup, we can solve for the markup rate. So 2,000 divided by 5,000, it's gonna be 0.4 times. Always make sure to multiply it with 100. 40%. So our markup rate is 40. And that's all for our example in the markup. Next is markdown. Now, what is markdown? Markdown is reduction on the original price denoted by MD. And in the next slide, I'm going to show you the formula. To get the original price, you must add selling price and markdown. To get the markdown, you must minus the original price to the selling price. To get the markdown rate, you must divide the markdown to the original price and after that, multiply it in 100. To get the new selling price, you must minus the original price to markdown. And after this slide, I'm going to show you how we apply it. For the example on the markdown, we have three examples here. Number 1, markdown is 500. Original price is 1,800. New selling price is 1,300. But, but the markdown rate is missing. How are we gonna solve this? First, let's get our markdown, which is 500, 500, and the original price 1,800, and divide it. And we're gonna get 0.27777 times 100, and we're gonna get 27.777 but since we're gonna round out our final answer, it's gonna be 27.78. So our markdown rate is 78%. 78%. And for the number 2, our markdown is now missing, but our original price is 1,000 and the new selling price is 755, and the markdown rate is also missing. Before we solve the markdown rate, we make sure that we have the markdown. So let's solve that first. Let's take our original price, which is 1,000, and minus it to the new selling price, which is 755. Now we get 245, which is the markdown. 245. Now we have the markdown. Let's continue on to the markdown rate. So first, we're gonna get the markdown, which is 245, and then the original price, which is 1,000, and we're gonna divide it. 245 divided by 1,000 is 0.245. Now we're gonna times it to 100, which is gonna be 24.5%. And so our markdown rate is 24.5, 4.5%. Now for our last example, number 3, we're going to do the same thing. Analyze the question. Our markdown is 700. Our original price is now missing. The new selling price is 5,800. The markdown rate is missing. But before we solve for the markdown rate, we make sure to always have markdown and original price. So we're gonna solve original price first. And we can do that by adding the markdown and the new selling price. And we're gonna get 6,500. Now since we have original price and the markdown, we're gonna solve for the markdown rate now. To do that, we're gonna divide the markdown to the original price, and we're gonna get 0.10769 times 100, and after that we're gonna get 10.76923 . Our final answer is gonna be 10.77. Why? Because we're gonna round it off since the beside of the 6 above 5, and we're gonna round that off. That's all for the markdown. Thank you. And now, it's time for our activity. Hi everyone, this is our activity for today. Question number 1. Ken is a seller of keyboard with a cost of 500 pesos. If the markdown is 250 pesos, what is the new selling price of the keyboard? Question number 2. Jenna has been selling cars for 10 years and sells them at a price of 500,000 pesos. If the markup is 245,000 pesos, what is the new selling price? Question number 3. What is the original selling price of Mark's product if the markdown is 500 pesos and the new selling price is 245 pesos? Question number 4. What is the original price of Mary's product if the markdown is 700 pesos and the selling price is 1,000? Question number 5. Jenna is a seller of clothes with a cost of 700 pesos each, and the markdown, um, never mind, the mark on is 300 pesos. The question is, how much is the selling price?
Hello everyone. Uh, for example number one, first we need to do is determine what we need to solve. So we're gonna read the question. Ken is a seller of keyboard with a cost of 500 pesos. If the markdown is 250 pesos, what is the new selling price of the keyboard? As it says here, what is the new selling price? So we're solving for the selling price. And to get that, just simply subtract the original price with the markdown, which is 250, and get our calculator and solve it. Solve it. $500 minus 250. So 250. And that's how we get the new selling price of the keyboard. For question number 2, Jenna has been selling cars for 10 years and sells them at a price of 500,000 pesos. If the markup is 245,000 pesos, what is the new selling price? We're gonna do the same thing. Analyze the question. What do we need to find? It says here, what is the new selling price? That means we're finding the new selling price. And in order to get that, just add, since it's markup, just add 500,000 pesos and 245 pesos. Two, four, five, and we're gonna get, adding this up, we're gonna get 700,000. We're gonna get 745,000. Question number 3. What is the original selling price of Mark's product if the markdown is 500 pesos and the new selling price is 245? As we can see, the thing that we're trying to find here is the new selling price. And in order to get that, we're just gonna add up the 500, the 245, add 745, and that's how we're gonna get the new selling price. I mean the original price. 745. In question number 4, it says that what is the original price of Mary's product if the markup is 700 pesos and the selling price is 1,000. So we're trying to find here the original price, and in order to get that, we just need to get the markup and the new selling price and subtract it, and we're gonna get 300. So the original price of Mary's product is 300 pesos. In the last question and question number 5, Jaina is a seller of clothes with a cost of 700 pesos each and the mark on is 300. Now the question is, how much is the selling price? And to get that, we just need to add up the cost and the mark on. And we're gonna add it up. We're gonna get 1,000. So our selling price is 1,000 pesos. Hi everyone, and our lesson is now complete or done, and that's all for today. But before I end the video, I'm gonna leave a quote stated by Paul R. Halmos. The only way to learn mathematics is to do mathematics. And that's all. Thank you.